The divorce rate in America today is between 40 and 50%, with 38% of people getting divorced reporting that financial problems were a contributing factor. And there's a 100% chance that if you do the exact opposite of what I talk about in this video, you'll have a wonderful marriage where money discussions will end in good spirits instead of weeping and gnashing teeth. My wife and I have been married about 9 years now, and we've had our fair share of painful money discussions, but because we avoided these mistakes, our marriage has really flourished. So mistake number one is becoming all too common. Marriages have turned into a business partnership where the husband takes care of this bill, the wife takes care of that bill, and we split rent, we split dinners, you Venmo me for the nachos and I'll take care of the tip. Instead of combining their lives for a single mission, marriage has turned into keeping score and making sure everything is fair and even. Instead of what's mine is yours and yours is mine, we have what's mine is mine, and don't forget, your share of rent is actually due on Friday. This isn't marriage. This isn't two becoming one. This is a business partnership, which leads me to my first financial mistake that will ruin your marriage: keeping your finances separate. If you want a relationship that requires an abacus to tally up who owes what, then by all means keep it separate. You share a home, you share children, you share a life, but God forbid you share your bank account. Now to me that says, I trust you, but I'm secretly preparing an exit plan in case this ship ever sinks. And I get it, there are real stories of abusive husbands who keep the family's finances away from their spouse. I feel for the wives in this situation, but that's why the next mistake on the list is so important. When I was single and hanging out with all my single guy friends, we were all on the hunt for a wife, and we had absolutely no idea what we were doing. We didn't know how to talk to women. We had zero game. True story, I asked a girl out with a buy one get one free coupon for Chipotle. That was the whole move. Thankfully, I was extremely blessed and I found and married the perfect lady for me. But had I made the wrong choice and married a woman who valued money, prestige, and Gucci bags over family and faith, I would be on the path to a quick divorce. Which is why mistake number two is picking a horrible spouse. Now honestly, I think this is the single biggest mistake a person can make. You can change or improve almost any situation. You can always sell a bad car purchase, you can change your habits, you can even climb out of a mountain of debt with determination and will, but you can't fix a crazy girlfriend. Now when you're starting to look for Mr. or Mrs. Right, please, please, please talk about money. It's not sexy, it's not romantic, but you need to find someone whose values align with yours and who wants the same things in life. Now, this is not a first date conversation, but my goodness, some people never bring it up at all and just hope for the best. This is the most important decision of your life. Choose wisely. If you don't, then mistake number three is going to become a real problem. There are a million ways to ruin a marriage, and unfortunately, one of the most common ways people do it is by cheating on their spouse. They get bored, they get complacent, and they throw their life and their family away for cheap thrills with a coworker. But that isn't the only way to cheat on your spouse. Mistake number three is financial infidelity, which really just means hiding anything to do with money from your spouse. It could be as simple as creating a separate Amazon account to hide your emotional spending. It could look like a husband refinancing their home to cover his gambling debts to the mob. Do people still use the mob to gamble? No? Let's try that again. It could look like a husband refinancing their home to fuel his addiction to DraftKings. Hiding purchases from your spouse is just straight up lying, and you wouldn't lie to your spouse, would you? Don't answer that. Marriage is supposed to be built on trust and communication. You can't have a healthy marriage when you're having packages delivered to your office so you don't have to explain to your husband why you've purchased a 7th Stanley Cup. Can someone explain to me why my wife needs 3 Stanley Cups? Okay, moving on to number 4. I've heard this analogy used many times, and I have no idea who started it, but I'm gonna borrow it. I want you to imagine a single Belgian draft horse. I'm talking one of those Budweiser beer type draft horses. One of those bad boys can pull 8,000 pounds on its own. Now you would think that if you hooked 2 of those big boys together, you'd be able to tow. Now if you said 16,000 pounds, you're way off. You're not dumb, but you're wrong. 2 horses yoked together can pull 24,000 pounds, 3 times what 1 horse can pull. Okay, this is not a Budweiser commercial. Post Malone and Shane Gillis are not going to make an appearance. This is meant to show you that when 2 forces join together for a common goal, they can accomplish so much more than they could on their own. Which is why the 4th financial mistake is not having a shared goal. No common vision, no mission that you're in together, just 2 people floating down a lazy river with no shared direction to head in. Okay, real quick. I know I've been telling you all the things you shouldn't do. Well, I actually help couples one-on-one to get their finances on track and to quit their bickering. And I've taken all the lessons I've learned from that experience and the experience of my own marriage, and I've created the free 5 simple steps for couples to get on the same page with money. And you can get it right down here, right down there. So check that out and let me know what you think of it. All right, back to the list. Do you remember in college when you would have a group project with some other random 18-year-old? Well, I do. And I'll never forget in my Engineering 101 class when Jeremy and I got put together to work on a special project to learn about the intricacies of thermal conduction, which sounds fancy, but really it was just measuring how long hot tea stayed warm in a styrofoam cup. Anyway, Jeremy texts me the next day and tells me how his sister is sick, his dog died, and his uncle just got diagnosed with cancer, all in the same weekend. Guess who has 2 thumbs and got stuck measuring cold tea all weekend by himself? Well, the joke's on him because I sucked at that class and we both failed the project. But my actual point is that one of the biggest financial mistakes you can make in a marriage is putting the entire weight of the bills and the budget and keeping track of everything on one person. Now, of course, there's going to be one primary person that deals with most of it, but that does not mean that the other spouse gets a free pass to completely check out of the financial relationship. You can imagine the anger and resentment I had towards Jeremy and his sick uncle, and who knows, maybe I bombed that presentation on purpose because I was a little bit upset. And that's not the kind of energy that you want to bring into a marriage. Okay, moving on to 6. A year into my marriage, we got to a point where we both started to make some real money. My wife graduated with her master's degree and got her first real job, and I got a big bump in pay. The first month when both of our paychecks hit, I felt like we were on top of the world. Between the two of us, we were making, I think, about $130,000, but I started spending like we were making $200,000. We bought a new car, we rented an insane apartment, and we ate out all the time. Now, in my mind, it didn't matter because every month, more money came in. More money than a kid from rural West Virginia could ever dream of. The problem was that 3 years passed and we were $40,000 deeper in debt with less savings in our bank than when we had started. Not to mention, we bought a house that really was outside of our price range, all because I had that mindset that we make great money so we can afford it. We were making mistake number 6 of living outside our means. I've noticed this a lot with couples that I've worked with. Something about making more money, having more wiggle room in your account gives you this false sense of security when it comes to spending. We were so much more wise with our money back when I was making $35,000 a year and my wife was still in school. Something about the overnight increase in income made me feel okay with pulling out car loans and borrowing money from family. We can afford it. And this thought process is alluring and feels really good until one of you loses a job, which happened to me. Or a car breaks down unexpectedly, or the air conditioning unit breaks. And it's those kind of unexpected emergencies that really haunt you if you're making mistake number 7. Now, I want you to think about the last time you had a financial emergency. Now, maybe it was just a flat tire, maybe a transmission blew up, or maybe it was Black Friday and that new Sony OLED just came out. Either way, you spent an upwards of $1,000 that you were not planning for. How did you pay for it? Now, if you're making mistake number 7, which is not having an emergency fund, then you probably put it all on a credit card. And you're not alone. Almost 60% of Americans do not have enough cash to cover an unexpected $1,000 expense. You can imagine the stress that puts on a marriage. Maybe your car's engine explodes because your wife treats her car's oil change like a trip to the dentist. Now, she knows she's supposed to go every 6 months, but she waits until there's grinding noises and a weird smell. That was really gross. Now, this is the kind of financial stress that ruins marriages over time. Unexpected bills cause unexpected stress, which brings up unexpected fights, and before you know it, you're unexpectedly sleeping on the couch. Now, if you want the free guide, 5 simple steps for couples to get on the same page with money, check out the link in the description, and I'll see you next time.